welcome to How To in a Few. Today I have a very special video for you. I'm really stoked about this. It's February 24th here in southern Louisiana. You can tell the sun just got brighter on me. We're going to be over 82 degrees today, which means that we are in for some high electricity bills coming up. And that's part of what has me excited. I'm not excited about high electricity bills, but I am excited about this product that came in. I first found out about this product. It's called the Sense. S-E-N-S-E, like a sensor sense. A few months ago in an ad, it was like a Kickstarter type thing that popped up about a product that wasn't being shipped yet, but was going to be shipping. And you know, you see those things all the time, and none of them ever actually get made, even if they're a good idea. So the other day, this pops up again, and now it says shipping in the US. I'm like, gotta be a load of crap. But I'm digging through it, and surely enough, looks like it's shipping. And I finally get to the bottom and see the price, which was a little pricey. But then I saw the interface for the app that's associated with it, and I was like, man, does this look cool. So I went ahead and bit the bullet for $2.99 for the product, and a couple days later shows up on my doorstep. So we're going to install it, and this install is pretty complicated. I don't think I would suggest it for the average person, which is why I think this is going to be a really good video, because you'll get to see what I did, but I am in no way trying to tell you that you should do this on your own. The instructions, I've looked through them already. I haven't opened the box yet, but I've looked at the online instruction, and they recommend a certified electrician. And having looked through it, I'm going to go ahead and recommend that you do that too. That being said, I know some of you are going to go ahead and attempt it on your own. Therefore, I'm just going to say that you're on your own with that. It's dangerous. You're dealing with the main power line in the breaker box, which can easily kill you if you do something wrong. So again, my official recommendation is don't try this on your own. But that being said, I know some of you guys aren't going to listen. I'm not going to listen, so I'm going to show you what I'm going to do that I don't want you to do. But okay, disclaimer aside, let's open the box and see what's inside. Okay, let's go ahead and open the box. Oh, well, should have started with this. Much nicer box. Looks like a bill. Oh, and a nice branded sticker. So let's see what's in the box. Got some stickers. I'm assuming this is going to go on the breaker panel. This is definitely a breaker panel switch. And we'll check the instructions to see what that's for. Here's the instructions. And here's our Sense unit. A lot smaller than I thought. The center port is for a solar panel hookup. If you had solar, you could monitor that. We are not doing that. One of these is going to be power, and the other one is going to be some inductive sensors which connect to the main part. And this looks like the antenna hookup, because this will be connecting to our in-house Wi-Fi and then connected to an app to show us which parts of the house, how water heater, stove, etc. is turning on, and how much electricity it's using. Really excited about this. I think you're gonna really get blown away when you see the app and the features. A little bit windy out here. Alright, here we have the inductive pickups. That looks kind of familiar if you ever dealt with electricity. These will clamp straight onto the incoming power source. And then it looks like a bunch of other cables. Okay, this is an external mount in case it won't fit inside the panel. I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to fit ours inside the panel. Here's our power hookup. And here is our antenna section, which is also going to be a little bit tricky because of our panel. Alright, because I already know what I'm in store for here, I also have a stud finder so that I can locate the studs next to my panel, because my panel is going to be quite large and I don't think the antenna can go off to the side. I bought a can of spray foam because we get in there, we're going to see that there's a little mud wasp nest in there. I don't know how old it is, but we're going to remove that, clean it up, and also seal so that nothing can get in from the outside. I got some extra screws to put my cover back on because I noticed I was missing one of those. 9-volt battery for the stud finder. And then, here's the important part. A new breaker. The power source for the Sense has to be on its own dedicated 240 breaker. If you have an open breaker, you can go ahead and use that. If you don't, then you'll have to install one in an empty slot, and if you're like me and totally full, you'll have to go with this, which is called a tandem breaker. What we're going to do is replace the 40 amp 240 volt breaker. It's going to be provided by these two center leads. It's marked 40, and that'll control the, I think we're going to do the stove, and then the outer one 30 amps, which is a little bit large for this device. Probably could have went lower, but that will be on the outside so that they each have dedicated lines. Presumably they have to be dedicated because this device is going to attempt to sense the voltage pull pattern of each device. So when the stove turns on, it makes a slightly different amount of noise in the voltage when it comes on, and presumably this device will sense that almost like a fingerprint. So it will learn along the way what the hairdryer looks like, what the microwave looks like, so that it can tell just based on the turn on signature what device is on and how long it's on, and then also measure how much electricity it's using. That's the premise. We'll see if it actually works once we get it all installed. So it will be on a dedicated breaker, so it won't sense it'll sense the stove, but separately from the power source line that the unit is on. That's the theory. I don't know. We'll see. But that's what it's requiring, so we are going to go ahead and do that. So this is like the most complicated situation that could arise for the install. And secondly, the antenna is supposed to go out of the side, but I know that my box is bridging between two wooden studs, and I most likely will have to put the antenna through the bottom or the top. Most likely though the bottom, because I anticipate this whole unit is going to be at the bottom of the breaker box. But I've talked enough. Let's go inside, open up the panel, and see what we're up against there. Alright, so here is our fuse panel. We're going to go ahead and alright, there is our electrical panel. Now something I want to point out, that panel is live. So it makes it very dangerous, and we can see how dirty this is in here. Let me make sure. Yeah, I think you can. So got a little wasp nest down there at the bottom. Just kind of looking over it. Initially I'm thinking the device could go down here in this corner, possibly on the side, but there's a nice open area on top, and we might go for that. This is the area that I mentioned I'm going to foam, because I can actually see daylight. So after we clean all this up, but everything is live right now. Now just to point out, in case you're not familiar with electricity, these are the breakers, and the wires that lead out generally send the electricity to where they go. These two wires right here, most of the time they'll be attached at the top. These come around. Oh, that's an exit. Alright, this is our inside. That's interesting. I'm going to have to take a look at how this all goes. So we have our two main breaker wires coming in. And then we also have 100 amp. That presumably, okay, is going into the attic to the furnace, the electric furnace. But these two, there's three. That's our main ground. These two right here will always be live. And those two squares, which I'm going to point at a very unsafe way, those two right there, even after I turn the power off, they will always be live. That's death right there. Even after I turn it off, all this will be safe. That will still be death. So keep that in mind. This is why you should probably, no, you should definitely have somebody qualified, a professional, hook this up for you. Alright, first thing I'm going to do is try to clean this up a little bit. My intention was to turn all the power off, but then I can't vacuum. So alright, next thing I'm going to do is turn off every breaker. Alright, so now everything coming out is not live except for the two main ones that I identified as death and the one for this room. Now the one that we are going to link into is here. That is our stove one. Alright, and I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the main right now. Maybe. Because this is our breaker that we're going to swap out now. It's for the stove. Now I'm still treating these as if they were live, even though I have the main off. When I say treating them, that's like they're live. I'm not going to touch any exposed. Try not to touch any exposed contacts. I'm pulling this out because it's going to go over the top. And this breaker is going to come out. And be replaced with our new double breaker. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and try to take care of my positive power connectors for the actual sense device. Alright, change of plans. Since it appears that my neutral bar is only on the other side, I'm going to reattach this breaker. Just notice I have empty breakers. I have empty breakers all over, so I didn't need to do a double breaker. Wasn't taping. So, found out that some of the fuses were blank. Let me just pan out a little bit. So rather than try to readjust and use a double breaker, I'm still going to end up using the double breaker, but on the other side. I took out two blanks, moved this one up so that this 220 one would go here, and connected to that we will put our sense unit, and in the back is our neutral bar. So the convenience of that is that all of our wires will be close to where we need to be. Alright, so first we will, our white's going to be our neutral. We are going to use the 30, and general pattern here is black on top. Alright, due to some weird things that identify that I am not a pro at this, that other breaker was giving me issues, so I do have another breaker that I'm just going to use, at least temporarily. It's a little bit much at 50 amps, but I do want to get this done today. So our sense is hooked up to that 50 amp breaker. Gonna hook the neutral up. I know you can't really see what I'm doing. I'm simply attaching. There's some set screws along this neutral bar. That's about 1,000,000 screws. So I stuck it into one of the holes, and it's tight. Already a problem here. Don't like that. And they're good. Our cord is ready. Next, we will unpack our inductive pickups. These must be installed on the two inward or our main in lines, and they have to be in the same, the stickers have to be in the same position when they're on there, parallel to each other. You can have them like this, or you can have them both face back. What you can't do is have them like this, because then presumably it's going to detect current in the wrong directions, or not detect current, as the case may be. So really need more hands, but that's why it's a do-it-yourself project. Alright, let's take a look at that, what I was doing the whole time. So I placed these two clamps on these live leads. I bent this a little bit out the way to kind of act like a holder. I think they're far enough apart that they won't interfere, but what's important is that the clamps are fully closed. So I'm just checking, and they are in fact fully closed. I think we're good to go on that. So all that's left now is to orientate our antenna. I think we're going to try to pop out a bottom one. I tried to use a stud finder, I showed you that earlier, to determine where the studs were, and I'm not getting a real good signal up in here. But I do believe I have some room, just insulation to the bottom. So that's where we're going to knock out a hole. I mentioned earlier that I was going to use some tape to attach the sense. It's going to most likely be right here. So I'm going to go ahead and just wipe down that part of the panel with a wipe. See if I can't punch out looks like it's meant to punch in the upward direction, but you'll get the right tools for the job. So ideally I would have been able to bend that off and break it, but alright, I have attached, and I don't like this at all. I feel like it's not on there good, but we'll just be real gentle about it. The antenna's on there. We'll leave it straight down. And that should slip into the hole and click. Man, I gotta show you how nice of a design that is. We'll do a little handheld. So how cool is that? Into the hole and click. It's not quite clicking right there. Well, we could turn sideways maybe. I think we'll leave it the way it was. Push it down, clicked in place. Alright, I feel like we're on the home stretch now. So let's see how we want to orientate this. I think this way. I might go ahead and take a piece of my duct tape. I know what you're thinking. Just using duct tape on a $300 device. This is not your average everyday duct tape. This is Gorilla duct tape, and I guarantee, well, I'm not personally guaranteeing you, I can assure you greatly that it will still be stuck if and when I should ever have to come in here again. Alright, I need to get my wires over this. And so these can only go in one way. Don't like that they're twisted, so let's see. Our pickup wires first. I guess you can't see that. We don't have solar. Our power wires. And then our antenna is going to go in on this side. Now I am going to get back on my step stool. Alright, I don't like where the antenna cable is going, so it's actually whole thing's a little bit lower than what I had planned. But believe it or not, duct tape is holding. Those wires are back in place. So let's see if we can get a few photos of, I guess I better do it in video format, of the device. Of our inductive pickups. Of our wiring to the breaker. And one more, including the antenna. Should have took a picture of the device, huh? For my thumbnail, but oh well. Alright, so there we go. And now, before I close everything up, we're going to go ahead and kick our main breaker on. Remember, all our other breakers are off, except for the light in this room. That one's a tough one. And then I'm also feeling like I like to have my air conditioner on. And then we can start the rest. You know what? We'll leave the non-used breakers out. Not going to turn on our sense yet. There we go. Everything's live. And the reason why I'm turning it on now is because I want my router to go ahead and boot up and make a connection to the internet. And just make sure that all that is set up before I turn on the sense. And then when we turn on the sense, we should hear a beep and then presumably nothing after that. If we get a continuous beep, something's wrong. Alright, our Wi-Fi and internet is back up. A quick double check. Neutral is the white, the red and the black are hooked to 240. Both of my leads are plugged in. The antenna. I want to make sure it's not under any kind of tension. It looks good. And my inductive pickups look good, so let's go. I said it could take a minute. Well, I'm not timing it, but getting a little nervous. Oh! I was talking, but hope you heard that. Alright, I'm excited now. So, next part is to get our phone and download the app and see if anything's going on. Alright, so let's take a look. It says to go to sense.com/app. And I guess it's not going to let us put it in there, so sense.com/app. Probably going to want us to install something away from the App Store. So we might have to give her permission. Oh, well, you know, we could have just did that to begin with. And open. Oh, it's going to ask me for all kinds of personal information. I can tell. Alright, get started. Yeah, we're going to accept that. Hello, have you installed it? Yes, we have. Okay, you can see where I am. Select the one. Well, hopefully there's only one. Oh, they're verifying my install work. Look, don't tell anybody because, you know, it's not all on the up and up. It's on the up and down. Oh, I got a green check though. Detected networks. We're going to stay on the gun happy 2. And it wants a password. You don't get to see that part. Oh, it just made a beep. Not the phone. The phone's turned down. It has to be the unit. Can't talk to the sense servers. That's not looking good, guys. That's not looking good. Okay. Alright, has to be the same password. Alright, after putting in the password, it says thanks for installing. Sense has started the signal check and calibration takes a day or 2. OMG. I don't want to skip the calibration. Power meter, this is where you'll be able to see your home's total power. Device detection, that looks pretty cool, right? Presumably the circles indicate which ones use, the size of the circles indicate which one uses the most power. Getting started, time, more devices, get started, done. All I see is a W. Oh wait, stuff is... Circle chart. Welcome, going through automatic signal check. Sense monitor installed. Alright, so total, oh look, it's showing me the wattage is being used. I guess it needs to kind of catch up and take a while, and that makes sense. Any kind of logging device at the beginning. Hey, let's not go crazy now. I don't like to see big jumps like that in power usage. Okay, family, everybody turn everything off! Just kidding. But presumably that might be what happens, right? If you get feedback on your usage, then you might be more likely to... Alright, other. So it's going to have to figure out, probably going to ask questions, I would assume. I don't know how it would know whether something's a stove or not, but okay. So there it is. I don't have any error messages. I'm going to assume the log has to fill a little bit before we get some good data feedback. I mean, things are happening, so just a little slow. Oh, I moved back to that, so. Alright, well, we'll give it some time, and then we will come back and see what things look like a little bit later. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and close up this panel. And that's it for this. We'll check back in with the app in a little while. Alright, so here we can see what it looks like. This is actually from my tablet again. The phone is a little bit buggy. but we can see the power output and these little peaks here. These in the at the end, well, we see there at the end where it's recording that that's my well pump kicking on. But in the center of the screen there, you see not only the well coming on, but shortly after the first peak, you see an increase overall, and that's the hot water heater kicking in. So that tells me right there that somebody was taking a shower. It's interesting to me that I can tell. Here, if we back up, we see the same kind of pattern. Initially, that the pump comes on every once in a while, and then hot water heater comes on, and then we see something really large come on. Well, that's because that's a washing cycle. So somebody started the washing machine, the hot water kicked on for that, and then the dryer. Once the dryer kicked off, it went back down, and here we are back to that somebody taking a shower picture. Alright, so now it's been about a week since I hooked up the Sense. It's identified quite a few devices. I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like on this tablet. There are apps on the phone, and but it's a little buggy. I'm going to say the Android. This is an Android tablet too, but it crashes more on the Android phone. I've been in contact with their tech support. Apparently, they're working on it, and it's a known issue. There's also a website version of this, but it's a little bit less function, but they are working on upgrading that too. And the website one looks pretty much like this. This is like a normal, easy graphical interface. You can see it's kind of snazzy. And we have other, which is amount of electricity that it hasn't identified yet. The always on is the stuff that is always on. And then it's identified things. Here we see fridge 3. That's a tag given to a perceived item from the app. Refrigerator has been changed by me. Glass commercial cooler has been changed by me. Mini fridge has been changed by me too. Because once it identifies something, then you can go and see, well, which fridge is that, which cooler, or what, is it accurate based on the device that it thinks is on. And you can change the name, even put the model number and other information, which is pretty cool. Now, what they do tell you is don't go around turning things on and off. Let the unit and the software detect the items, and that's what I've done. I only go after the fact. See, like this fridge 3, I don't know what that is. I'm thinking it's probably one of my deep freezers, but it could also potentially be a component of the refrigerator that just turns on at a separate time, because some items have multiple modes of running, and it might detect those two different modes, like ice maker and refrigerator, as two separate items. And then there is a convenient feature in the app where you can merge those two together if you're positive that they're the same item. Let's take a look real quick. What else is available? First, I'll switch to the graph. This is where it tends to be a little more buggy, but this gives you like a profile of the actual usage, and you can scale it so that we can look way back, even over the course of days, and look at the usage. This is, wait time is going to always have a little bit more. Takes a while to load. Lots of data points. Supposedly it doesn't show millions of data points a minute, but apparently the device takes, well, that doesn't really look good on them, right? If it's not showing the data. Let's see. Alright, so there you see, a little bit buggy. Looks like we even lost connection. Alright, here we go. Alright, so that's a little bit of a better Well, I was just going to take time to load in those data points. And now we lost the other data. There we go. All right, we'll just stick with this. You get the idea. And this is a running total, so you can actually sit here and watch it. And I'm sure when you first get it, you'll be like me and you'll do that. And then I actually recognize some of the patterns. I can see where my well pump turns on and off. And an interesting story about that is that when I first got this started, I noticed that my well pump was coming on every 5 minutes. That's not something, I don't sit out there by the well waiting 5 minutes to see how often it comes on. But once I had this app, it was immediately clear that there was an issue that I wasn't aware of. So we had recent freezes here, which we don't normally have in southern Louisiana. And I'm thinking, man, I've got a pipe in the wall somewhere that's split and leaking, and something like that. So I went around, I checked all the faucets, I checked all the outdoor plumbing to see if there were any leaks. I mean, I was just frantic because the last 2 months my electricity bill went through the roof, close to 300, which is way more than normal, $300. So then I went around and checked all the toilets. And it was then that I found that the upstairs toilet, the little cutoff switch inside the tank was not working properly. It would cut off the refill, but allow it to just trickle a little bit, so little that you couldn't even hear that the toilet was running. So it would have been almost impossible to find if I wouldn't have known that there was an issue somewhere. So turns out that toilet was just staying on a little bit that allowed water to trickle down into the tank. And obviously I knew there was something wrong because it was so full. It was going into the overflow. But it was so small. And then I corrected that issue, and now the pump comes on when somebody uses water and stays off when nobody's using water. And so hopefully that's going to have a big effect on the next electricity bill, because that pump turning on every 5 minutes is going to add up over the course of 30 days. All right, if we look at a couple of other things, we've seen this. These will go away as they go off. There's some trends. There's the power meter, which is similar to what we were just looking at. And then you can get a list of devices, and these devices will show you when they're on and the wattage that they're using. I verified most of these. Now, one odd thing is that the microwave, so it senses when the microwave gets turned on. What's kind of interesting, it senses when you turn the microwave on in regular mode. If you put a popcorn bag in there and hit popcorn, because the microwave starts in a different way, it goes through a sensing routine for the popcorn, the device doesn't detect that. So I can only hope that eventually it will pick up on that being maybe a second microwave and then allowing me to merge those two behavior patterns. But, all right. And then there's some settings where you can enter some things like electricity costs, etc., and that can also give you the cost of these items. You can go into the menu, you can see how much they're using, what's the average run time, how many times they came on in the last month, and total estimated cost of that appliance. So that's pretty cool too. And like I said, you can change, if you go in settings, you can put model numbers, etc., and manage those details. You can even have it notify you as to when something comes on. I read or saw a review somewhere where a guy had it set to send him a notification whenever the garage door opener came on, so that he could monitor when his wife got home. That's a little bit overkill, if you ask me. But yeah, the potential is there. If you want to know when something comes on, you can set a notification. So that's kind of cool. All right, so far I have to say I'm very pleased with it. It's a little bit slow on figuring out what device is what, but I guess that's to be expected. It took about 2 days before I got the first notification, And then I think I got 2 more notifications the next day, and then the third day there were none, and then I got a few more, and we're up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 items, and hopefully it'll continue to pick up on more as we continue to use it. Have to say, I really like it. Really like it. So if you're thinking about getting a Sense, it wasn't that hard to install, but due to the fact that it's dangerous, I'm going to again kind of reiterate that you should hire a professional to do it and not attempt to do it yourself. But if you are confident and know what you're doing, it can be easily done, fairly quick to install and set up. And if you're a data geek like me, pretty interesting to watch the information that you're not normally aware of. If you have any questions, please leave them below. If you found this video helpful, thumbs up would be cool. Maybe subscribe. That would really help me out. All right, so thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.